Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc, Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Metaphysical Mocha Monday here on the Intuitive Prospector channel. If you guys want to do a little bit more spiritual prospecting with me, you can always visit my YouTube playlist. Just look for Marc Lainhart of the Intuitive Prospector. And if you share this page out right now, at the end of this month, at the end of January, I actually choose, or I should say Spirit chooses, one person to give a free 30-minute reading for those that are sharing out and those that subscribe to my YouTube library. So how you guys doing this morning? I see you got a couple people hanging out with me this morning. This morning we're going to be talking about something that came up in meditation. Got a little bit of a late start here this morning because I was actually waiting for my coffee pot to brew my coffee. So sometimes you got to wait for the coffee. You can't go on air without your coffee because it is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. And I think in the 2.5 years that I've been doing this show, I've only gone on the show once where I had no coffee, and that was actually in England. I had the coffee cup, but I had to walk down off the college, and I didn't have coffee. So it was this year, my first year of not having coffee for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. So cheers to you. Good morning, wherever you're at. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, the beautiful Pacific Northwest. My studio is here, and if you want to learn more about what I'm doing and the spiritual work I'm doing, mediumship, meditation, mindfulness, psychic development, you can go to marclainhart.com. You can internet search the Intuitive Prospector. You can also find me on a couple professional directories. I'm located with Best American Psychics. I'm also located with Best Psychic Directory, which is Bob Olson, and I'm also part of the Ariel spiritual community, and also part of FamousPsychicMediums.com. And in fact, there's a great article that just came out on my spiritual development group that will be starting up, that I started up in January, and we're going into our third year. It's an online development group. So how's everybody doing? Just send me some hearts, send me some likes, or send me some smiley faces, or sad faces, or angry faces. How's your Monday morning doing? Because today I'm going to be talking about how the soul leads us, but it does not govern us. It's up to our own personal responsibility to have free will and choice, and that's what I'm going to be talking about this morning. Going to give you some totem animal spirits, as well as your numerology number, and a crystal for the week, which I always do on every Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. And if you want to stick around at 8:30 when this show ends, at 8:30, the Prospecting Q&A after show will actually come right back up. So this show ends at 8:30, and then just about 30 seconds to a minute later, I come back up for the Prospecting Q&A after show. And that is a show that's dedicated to you. This is my way of giving back, to being somebody in service to our planet, to others, to the spirit world, and we can have a direct conversation, readings, might get a card for the week, might be mediumship. If it is mediumship, I'll either have you come up on video here on Facebook Live for a message, or actually give me your phone number. We can bring you up on the phone and do it that way too. So one of the things that I love about doing this work is the inspiration and the unknowingness of doing this work. There's no planning or scripting to the work that I do, and my messages come through first thing in the morning when I wake up. I do my meditation, I do a little bit of Qigong, try to get out and do some nature, whether it's a morning run or a hike, and just really be inspired to be alive, because there is no guarantees for tomorrow, and we can't do anything about the past. All we have is the power right now. So a few of my favorite quotes come from Rumi, and one of the quotes that really is always stuck with me in my spiritual journey is, "My soul is from elsewhere, and I'm sure of that, and I intend to end up there." And that's from Rumi. If you know Rumi, he was a 12th century mystic. He would be out of the areas that we would know as Afghanistan, Iraq, and just a really smart dude. And I always come back to Rumi a lot just for my inspiration, for my quotes. And there's another one that really kind of got me going as far as today's topic. And today's topic is, this is something one of my mentors had said to me a while back, and it kind of stuck with me. So I've got a few mentors that I've been working with that help me on my spiritual path, my spiritual journey. And one of my mentors said to me, the soul will lead you, Marc, but the soul will not govern you. And I had to think about that for a second. I said, you know what, that's right, because there's a lot of times that I get this inspirational God spark that comes from the heart, this pulling or this calling to do something, and I'm not sure I really want to do it. And so that's the soul leading you, but the soul won't govern you. You have your own free will, and you have choices that you make, and that's your greatest power while you're here, is the choices to decide what life you want for yourself, what job you want for yourself, what partner you want for yourself, what direction in life you want to go. Those are all choices and free will that you choose. Now, some of us in life come into this life a little bit set up better than others. I came into a family that didn't have a lot of money. In fact, I was raised in some of the poorest neighborhoods here in Washington State for many, many years. Didn't have a lot of money, and my parents were divorced, so working parents, hand-me-down kid, hand-me-downs like you wouldn't believe. And I'm okay with that, but some people do come into life and they're set up with money and privilege, and we talk about that as having privilege. But some, I almost would rather come in being poor and find my own way than having somebody give me a bunch of money and live a lavish lifestyle, because you don't, learn that you're not here to experience the world, and you don't see the different cultures and the people. So for me, to desire to know your own soul will end all other desires, and that's what Rumi teaches us. So let me say that again. The desire to know your own soul will end all other desires. And so when you start to trust your intuition, and the intuition is something that I teach on, it's the language of your soul. And just like learning any other language, you have to learn your own intuition. And what does that language of the soul tell you? Are you listening to your intuition? If you don't trust your own intuition, how do you expect your intuition to trust you? So it becomes this relationship. And Rumi talked about this. And again, he was talking about this in the 12th century. So this is not Marc's philosophy. This is thousands of years of philosophy about listening to the calling of your soul, knowing that the soul will lead you, but the soul will not govern you. And when you start to realize that your own choices and your free will lead you on that journey, it makes for a very interesting, inspiring journey on your spiritual path. And like I said, some come into this life privileged. Other of us who don't come into this life privileged find our own way. And again, knowing that, if you've ever had that thought that your soul is from elsewhere, I'm sure of that, and I intend to end up there. So I always like to say that we're a spiritual, energetic being first, here having a physical experience. And the reason that we're having that physical experience is to learn to walk in somebody else's shoes, to understand pain and pleasure, to understand your external environment, to understand pressure. One of the past shows that I taught on was about no pressure, no diamond. So if there's no pressure applied to a piece of charcoal, then it remains a piece of charcoal. But if it is applied over time, it becomes something bigger, better, greater than itself, like a diamond. So this morning, just I don't know who resonates with this topic, but as far as listening to your soul, I would recommend and encourage you to listen to the whispers of your heart. Is another thing that I've talked about in my spiritual journey, and it's a very subtle type of calling. It just doesn't slap you in the face. Sometimes I wish it would. It'd make it easier, but sometimes you have to get to a place where you're not distracted, where you can actually hear this voice. You can actually start to understand and hear and feel your own intuition, to hear the language of your soul. And a lot of people don't connect into this because they don't take the time to disconnect so they can make true time to connect to their soul. Rumi talks about let yourself become living poetry. And by letting yourself become living poetry, it's kind of like today's show. This is living poetry. There's no script, there's no plan. I don't have anything written down. It's just me going on Facebook Live and connecting with all of you amazing spiritual prospectors to help you find your own spiritual goal. Do I have all the answers? No. But if I can point you in the right direction, or if I can inspire you, if I can get you thinking outside the box, then I'm doing my job as an inspirer. And that's actually what my Myers-Briggs profile was said that I was supposed to be doing, was to be an inspirer, to be out helping other people. And that's what I'm doing today. So again, welcome to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Let's take a deep breath. Let's get into what I call the magic of the moment. And just take a second to see if you've ever had a conversation with your intuition, with your soul. Are you letting your soul guide you, or are you letting your mind guide you? The soul comes from the heart and the belly button area, which we call that solar plexus. That's why we say in modern times, trust your gut, because it's really a kind of a butterfly energy. It's kind of an unknowing, a leap of faith of all the time. And Rumi teaches us and tells us all the time that we should leap without feet, because that leap leads you into a choice, or leads you down a path that you may not have, that your mind may have talked you out of it. Now, this guy up here is very, very powerful, the mind. That's why we call these your temples. This is why we call this the third eye, because it connects to the pineal gland, that connects to something bigger than yourself. And so when you connect, it's sometimes getting out of this mechanism up here and getting into your heart and trusting your gut or your solar plexus chakra energy to really listen and understand and believe in your own intuition, the language of the soul. So today's topic, we're talking about the soul will lead you, but it will not govern you. Free will and choice is what will govern you to make your choices. And so I just thought I'd just share that with you this morning. I'm going to give you a totem animal spirit. We'll be back at 8:30 for the prospecting Q&A after show. I got a little bit of a late start this morning. Was like I said, I was trying to get the coffee pot to work, and it had a mind of its own this morning. So if you're just joining Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're a returning spiritual prospector in search of your own spiritual gold, thank you for tuning in every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hanging out with me and having a spiritual chat, a conversation, and hopefully planting some seeds to help you to have a better life and to make better choices in your journey. Because life is kind of chaotic right now, isn't it? Just with everything that's going on in the world. I saw it when I was in England. I'm seeing it here in the United States. So sometimes this is a good way to disconnect from all that chaos and really go into your own journey, your own spiritual path, if you will. So one of the things I always preach, I guess, is take the time to disconnect so that you may have the time to reconnect. So if you're just joining, you can put a comment in the section. I have the comments turned off right now, but you can let me know where you're from if you're just joining for the first time. Make sure to, if you just touch the screen, you can get the description field, the comments. There's a link for my YouTube playlist. I've got about 200 videos of what I call my Soul Adventures library, and it has everything from all my radio shows, 4 seasons of Inspired Living Radio, 2 seasons of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, some diving videos, some hiking videos, some meditation videos. So if you want to check that out, just go to YouTube. Just trying to increase my YouTube presence and subscribers, and also just turn on the notification here on the Intuitive Prospector page, or make sure to like the Intuitive Prospector page. And like I said, for anybody that's sharing out this show, at the end of the month, I'll enter all those names that help share it or subscribe to my YouTube playlist for a free 30-minute reading with me at the end of the month, and I'll private message you when Spirit picks that name. So the first thing I want to give you as we get ready for the week, these are inspirational messages for the week to help guide you, to help inspire you, to help you look at the journey a little bit different, I guess. Something that I didn't always do. I didn't always live in the present moment. I always found myself living in a future that wasn't guaranteed, or my memories created a past that I couldn't change. And on my journey, through great trauma and tragedy and personal loss, it helped me to transform, to really find the true magic in the moment. And so just ask you to come back into the magic of the moment. Take a nice deep breath with me. Doesn't that just feel nice? And how easy is that? And it's just, we get so busy that we just sometimes forget to breathe, to bring in that prana and energy into our system. So again, just take another nice deep breath. Breath comes in through the nose, comes out through the mouth. Put a nice big smile on your face. And you can do this throughout the day if you're having a stressful day, wherever you're watching from, because I've got people all around the world. If you're just ending your day, if you're in the middle of your day, if you're catching this on a encore, through my YouTube channel, we all have our stressors, and the external environment, teaches us lessons all the time, right? Lessons repeat until they complete, and people are lessons and blessings in our journey. So it's just kind of moving into that observer mindset, and just, again, putting a nice big smile on your face, taking another nice deep breath, breathing in the prana, the power of life and energy, bringing it into your system, and just letting that go. A lot of people don't breathe correctly. They breathe through their mouth versus their nose, and really just being an observer of your own breath can really kind of bring you out of your mindset, because this guy's always going, the mind. And one of the ways to actually get into understanding your intuition and hearing the language of your soul and that calling of your soul, like I said, today's topic is the soul will lead you, but it will not govern you. It is your free will and your choice that governs you to make the choices that you are making. So just want to say good morning. There's a couple people hanging out with me. Wanted just to say good morning to Wendy and Sirius and Lisa and Dave. How are you guys? Just thought I would just say, I had a message come in, sorry. So just talking about how the soul leads and guides us, but a lot of people don't take the time to really get to a place of subtleness because the soul talks to us at a very subtle type of energy. It usually comes through the heart. It usually comes through the solar plexus, the belly button area, the gut. And the reason we call that the solar plexus, the Montipora, or the jewel upon the hill, if you will, is because that's where life begins. If you think about it, that's where your umbilica was connected to your mom, and it's a very energetic nerve center, if you will, all in that belly area, right down in the stomach. It's not just a place for holding all your food and your intestines. It's actually a very spiritual, psychic center. And if you just take your hand and put it on your belly button and take a nice deep breath, you've taken the first step of really just tuning into your own intuition, which is the language of your soul, and starting to hear and trust and believe what the soul is guiding you to do, the God spark of your heart. And I know that for those of you that are watching, you've had an idea that it's created out of either a passion of the heart or a knowingness of your solar plexus, but this guy up here talks you out of it. And so what I want to encourage you this morning is really to move out of here, move into the heart, and move into the solar plexus, and to trust some of those thoughts and feelings that you're having, because again, you don't have to trust everything that's going on up here, and you don't have to believe all your thoughts. It's not always right. And when you start to understand all of your faculties, all of your spiritual gifts while you're here, it just makes for a more inspiring, interesting life to help you make better choices along your path, whether it's a career, a relationship, your own, just finding out who you are in life and what you want to get from life. So just take a second and just take a deep breath and bring that energy in, and just sit with that energy for a second. Put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your belly button, and just feel that subtleness of your soul. Again, the soul will start to lead you, and if you trust your intuition, which is the language of the soul, you're going to have some pretty cool experiences. Now, I wasn't always like this, guys. I was, I'm 8 years in the Coast Guard, retired professional firefighter, so I have a very analytical, scientific mind, which resides here in the left side of the brain. And it took me a few years to kind of undo and unlearn what I have learned and move into the creative side of my mind, and the psychic, the mediumship, the mindfulness, the consciousness side of my journey, to understand that there are a lot of things around us, there are a lot of people around us that are unseen by the physical eye, and it's more felt through your skin, which is the largest organ on the body. It's felt through the heart. It's felt through the solar plexus, or the belly button area. And when you start to develop those abilities, things become much more expanded. It's like taking the blinders off, and some call it awaken, some call it a shakening causes an awakening, which it did for me. But once you take the blinders off, you get this bigger perspective of life, of our planet, of people in your life, situations, drama, fear. All of that really starts to change for you. So this morning I thought it would just be fun to talk about how the soul leads us, but it does not guide us, and it doesn't govern us. It's not going to tell us what to do. We have free will and choice that does that. So that's your topic for this morning. So think about how you can listen to the language of your soul, your intuition, your awareness, to start trusting and feeling where some of the things that are taking you on your journey versus what the mind tells you. The card for this morning is 87, which adds up to 15 in numerology, which is the number 6, which is about self-love. And the message is pay attention to the synchronicities that are going on in your journey. As far as I like to say, the etheric world, the unseen world, the spirit world is very much a part of our world. Some shows actually just talk it as a different, have portrayed it as just a different dimensional, and that our worlds are intertwined. It's just what do we do to cross over and see those different aspects of the different worlds that are actually a part of our one world, a world within a world, if you will. It was interesting because a lot of people in China have been commenting lately that they've been seeing a floating city in the clouds. There's actual pictures. You can actually go out and look. It's hard to know what to believe on the internet anymore, but as far as if you just go out and look for cities in the clouds, it's been reported all over China that people are seeing a city floating in the cloud, a big city. Now, is it a mirage, or is it a dimensional aspect where the worlds are crossing over? I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that people are reporting seeing floating clouds by the hundreds, seeing something floating in the like a city floating in the clouds, and I've always just thought that that's just getting a glimpse of that dimension. It's kind of like a rainbow. You know how you sometimes see a rainbow, but the rainbow is always there. Those colors are always there. It's what light is refracted to allow you to see that rainbow coming down. And that's kind of the same way I think of the spirit world, the unseen world. It's just sometimes we get glimpses, and we can get that through signs, symbols, synergy, and synchronistic events is what I teach on. So just something kind of cool to think about, and for the week ahead. The totem animal spirit for this week is going to be the lemur. If you're familiar with the lemur, if the lemur shows up on your journey, it's telling you to use the power of your clairvoyance. So what we call clairvoyance, and this is something I teach on my weekly online development group called Spiritual Development Group, SDG. We work with the clairs on a weekly basis because it's like a workout room. You get in what you put out. And if you want to work on your spiritual abilities, send me a private message, send me an email that you're interested in doing a weekly journey as far as being part of a tribe that works on different modalities: psychic, mediumship, mindfulness, healing, spirituality, inspirational speaking. And so the lemur kind of looks like a raccoon, a little raccoon. It's how I would describe it. But if it shows up, your clairvoyance is going to increase to the point where you'll be seeing your helping spirits more clearly. So if you see a lemur on your path, whether it's in real life or in a magazine, or you hear the word, pay attention, because that's a marker, that's an indicator, a sign that the clairvoyance, your own clairvoyance, the power within, is increasing to a point where you're actually seeing those that are helping you. And you have a lot of help from the other side. I know some of you that are watching today feel alone. You feel like the people that have passed on are no longer with you. I would disagree with that. They're very much a part of our journey now. They're helping us, they're guiding us, and when you take the time to disconnect and become very silent, you can actually hear more, and Rumi teaches that as well. The more silent and still you become, the more you actually hear. So I would encourage you just to take some time through the power of breath to sit with your intuition and just see who or what comes into your pathway and inspires you and kind of leads you, and see where your soul leads you to go. Because again, today's topic is the soul leads, but it does not govern. That's free will and choice. So your crystal for today, for this week, is called the Smithsonite. Or a little bit. I was 5 minutes late, so I'm going 5 minutes over, and then I'll end and come back for the prospecting Q&A after show. The Smithsonite is a stone that's easily obtained, and it's spelled Smith, so S-M-I-T-H, sonite, S-O-N-I-T-E, Smithsonite. And where it comes from is it comes from the United States, it comes from Australia, Greece, Italy, Mexico. But the stone is a stone of tranquility. It's a stone of kindness and favorable outcomes. So for those of you that are looking for a little bit of tranquility, looking for a little bit of kindness and charm, then surround yourself with Smithsonite. It's an extremely gentle present, and it forms a buffer against life's problems. So again, the stone for this week is Smithsonite. The lemur is your totem animal spirit, and the number for your week is synchronicities. Pay attention to the synchronistic events that are taking place in your life, because it happens all the time on a daily basis. Quite comical. So I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me this morning. I'm going to go ahead and end here. It's Monday morning, and I got a little bit of a late start because my coffee pot didn't want to wake up this morning, I guess. But I'll be back here in about 30 seconds for the prospecting Q&A after show, and that's where I'll actually have a conversation directly with you. We can do spiritual chats, free readings, and we'll just kind of see what we get. We'll go prospecting, because that's what it's all about. You never know what you're going to get until you try. So let's put on some equipment, let's go out into nature, let's do some prospecting, and let's find your own spiritual gold for what you're looking for, and hopefully I can help you do that, because that's what I do. So I want to say thank you for hanging out with me. Make sure to subscribe or turn on the notifications. This Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we're back for Inspired Living Radio, 4th season. We're going to have open phone lines where Kim, my co-host, who's in Richmond, Virginia, will be joining me on the air, and we're going to be talking about 2019, the year of the 3. It's a universal year, so if you're very fascinated with the number 3, or you're fascinated with being creative and expressive, then 2019 is going to be the year for you. So we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday with our live show, Inspired Living Radio. It's our internet-based show, so you can listen to it from anywhere on any device around the world, no username or password. needed, and we're live and we'll be taking calls, so you can call in or you can post a question on our Facebook page called Inspired Living Radio. So make sure to become a member there, because it is a closed community of inspired listeners, so you can post your free question and we'll try to respond to it if we can. You can also join my closed page, Soul Adventures. It's a community where you can share your soul adventures with other like-minded individuals, or if you're interested in weekly development, send me a private message or email for the Spiritual Development Group, which is online every week through the Zoom platform at 6 p.m. Pacific. 2 hours of what I call spiritual awesomeness, dedicated study each and every week, and setting a space for spirit, for a group, and for you. So if you're interested in any of those three, or getting on my Soul Adventures newsletter, just go to marclainhart.com, or an internet search the Intuitive Prospector, and my website's kind of that one-stop shop that'll take you to whatever you're looking for, whether it's radio, whether it's magazine, whether it's videos on my YouTube channel, or just Metaphysical Mochas and hanging out and have a cup of coffee. So, all right, guys, until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and I'll see you next Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, here on Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Namaste.